Hello, book lovers, and thanks for listening. I post new chapters every week. If you like my work, please remember to like and subscribe to help me build my channel. The Stillwater Girls by Minka Kent. Narrated by Jennifer Schafer. Chapter 3. Wren. I would do anything to know simplicity the way Sage does. My stomach won't stop rumbling, my head won't stop pounding, and Sage won't stop singing. I'm 2 seconds from snapping at the only person I have any control over until I force the thought away and make my way to the small window in the kitchen. I gaze past a checkered curtain towards the forest, as I've done many times before. The tiniest piece of me hopes Mama and Evie will emerge out of thin air, running for the house with exhausted smiles on their faces, home from their perilous journey at last. Every night as I lie in bed, I picture the two of them coming home, and I wake with dried tears on my pillows. I've never been much for mollycoddling like Sage is, but lately my patience is worn thin by the end of the evening. It isn't the only thing wearing thin these days, though. My hope, my body, our supplies, this life, everything's just dwindling into nothing. Pretty soon there'll be nothing left. The thought of wasting away, freezing and starving to death with my naive little sister makes my stomach twist in knots. But the thought of leaving the homestead and going beyond the forest sends my heart slamming to the ground. We're not allowed to go past the forest, and even if we did venture that way, we wouldn't know where to go. We'd likely get picked off by some hungry coyote. If I'm gonna die, I'd rather die here, beside the sooty fireplace that's kept us warm and cooked our meals and hosted hundreds upon hundreds of Mama's beloved store hours. I'd rather die with my tattered books and sketch pads and the collection of dolls I've sewn my younger sisters over the years. I'd rather die wrapped in one of Mama's old dresses and breathing in the scent of her lavender goat's milk soap than lying in an earthen bed covered in snapped twigs and broken leaves. Sage, enough! My voice cutting through the cabin startles her into silence. Maybe I should let her sing. Maybe it fills her with what little joy she can find. But it's nightfall now, and the sooner we can go to bed, the sooner we can get a break from this never-ending day, and the sooner we won't have to feel so hungry, so tired, so alone. Heading to the door, I secure the latch and draw the curtains to the little window, as we always do at sundown. Bad things happen at night, Mama always warned us. People feel emboldened to do the kind of things they'd never be caught dead doing in the light of day. She never did say what those things were. I didn't want to know, but I could only imagine. The world's an evil place, my darlings, she would say as she brushed the hair off our foreheads and kissed our chubby soap-scented cheeks at night. You're safe here, with me. I'll never let anything happen to you. The fireplace crackles and a quiet Sage rocks in a chair, the baby doll tucked tight under one arm as she leans down to study a puzzle piece in the dim firelight. I change behind the wardrobe door in the corner of the room, my dress crumpling to the floor. Pulling one of Mama's old nightdresses over my head, I tug it down my bony hips until the lace hem tickles the top of my feet. Sweeping my hands beneath my thick hair, I tie it low at the nape of my neck before heading to the basin to wash up. An old canning jar filled with toothbrushes rests beside the day's water, and I pluck mine, a garish shade of neon green. It's always been funny to me that everything around us is white or cream or brown or gray, beautifully dull, but these are wonderfully bright, like the box of waxy colored sticks Mama got for Evie on her 5th birthday. The man, the one Mama meets every few months to get our supplies, picked them up for her. She didn't say where he got them, But she did say there are shops and places that sell these sorts of things, just like there are places that sell the feed we give our chickens and goats, and the fabric and thread we use to make our clothes. I once asked Mama if she could take me to a shop someday so I could pick out a new dress pattern or some kind of fabric that wasn't covered in tiny flowers. But her eyes began to water, and she answered by telling me to peel the dinner potatoes and humming simple gifts under her breath. I loved Mama too much to upset her, and I respected Mama too much to ever bring it up again. Gathering my nightdress in my hands, I lower myself to the warm flames in the hearth beside my silent sister and stoke the dying fire. I add 3 more logs, which should get us through the next several hours, and then I pad across the wooden floor to my bed in the corner, slipping into my warmest pair of wool socks. You should wash up, I say, climbing beneath Mama's favorite quilt a moment later. Sage reaches for another puzzle piece, yawning. I'm not tired. Right. Rolling my eyes, I add. Fine. Suit yourself. Sage snaps her piece into place before exhaling. They're not coming back, are they? Sitting up, I pull the covers to my waist and contemplate my answer. How long has it been, Wren? She asks. I shouldn't be surprised that I'm the only one counting the days. Sage doesn't know what month it is half the time, and why should she? I've always been the keeper of the calendar. She's only ever had to wash supper dishes and gather eggs, and flash her tender grin to get out of everything else. It's been a while. I don't tell her it's been 73 days as of tonight. Mama would have sent for us by now, don't you think? She turns to me, clutching that ridiculous rag doll against her chest, like a girl half her age. No one's ever been here before. Who would she send? Sage lifts a bony shoulder to her ear, her dark, pin-straight hair settling into her hollow clavicles. I don't know. The man? How would he know how to find us? I've asked myself these same questions silently over the past several weeks, always coming to the same conclusions. Mama's always made sure no one knew where we were. Every time she'd meet the man, she'd be gone at least 8 hours or more, wheeling everything back in 2 separate red wagons, and she'd never let us help. Sage wasn't strong enough to make the journey, and Mama needed me to stay home to look after Evie. Besides, it wasn't safe for young girls to be in the woods after dark. There were too many things that could happen to us in the forest. Men with guns, rabid animals. I always assumed, though I've never seen either of those things in my nearly 20 years on this earth. My sister doesn't answer as she rocks her baby doll and watches as the flames lick the inside of the hearth. Lying back, I bring the covers to my neck and roll to my side, my heavy eyelids drifting shut. Do you think something's happened to them? Sage asks when I'm halfway asleep. My brows knit, though my eyes remain closed. Sage, go to bed, please. We'll talk in the morning. The creak of the rocking chair fills the small cabin, and the soft, crumpled sound of the rag doll hitting the floor follows. I need to use the outhouse, she announces, voice small because she knows she waited too long. It takes all the energy I have to roll over, and when I open my eyes, I discover my sister standing in front of my bed with wincing, desperate eyes. I've already locked up for the night. You couldn't have gone earlier? I ask. I really have to go. She bites her lower lip, bouncing in place as her hands cup her privates through her dress. I'm going to wet myself. Flinging the covers off my legs, I step out of bed. For as long as I can remember, Sage has had issues with her bladder. When she was a young girl, she used to ignore her urges too long, and then cry every time she peed, saying it burned, which would only make her hold it in even longer. Mama started ordering antibiotic tablets from the man after that. We ran out last month. Slipping my hand around hers, I grab our jackets off the hooks by the door and light the kerosene lamp before checking the window and working the latch. Under the shade of night and a moonless sky, we dash across the sod past the goat enclosure, between the hen house and the garden shed, and at last to the leaning outhouse on the perimeter of the homestead. Be quick, I tell her, catching the door as she flings it open. Wrapping my arms around my body, I struggle to get warm as the chilly air bites through my coat and works its way into the thin fabric of my nightdress. With chattering teeth, I ask if she's finished yet. Almost, she calls, stepping to the south side of the outhouse in hopes to avoid the cruel north wind. I peer towards the darkened Stillwater forest, towards the same little clearing Mama and Evie disappeared into 73 nights ago. Had I known it would be the last time I'd ever see them, I might have told them I loved them one more time. I might have kissed Evie's chubby little fingers and hugged Mama so tight she'd have had to pry me off her just to breathe again. I'd have thanked Mama for everything, for her protection from the evils of the world, for the hot meals, warm clothes, and shelter from the cold, for the joyful songs and heartfelt lullabies, for the books that fed my mind and allowed me to escape to other worlds on those endless summer days, for the stories of our beautiful childhood when the world was a kinder, sweeter place, and the tales of all the family members we were never able to meet before the outside world had turned greedy and cold. But mostly I'd have thanked her for her unconditional love. The door to the outhouse creaks open before the wind catches it and bangs it against the side of the little building. Ren, Sage calls for me. Over here. I step out from the south side of the outhouse and take her hand, leading her back to our house where the warm glow of the fire through the windows lights the way. Feel better? She nods. You go to bed now? I ask. Sage nods again. I promise we'll talk in the morning, I say once we're halfway to the door. I'm not sure what I can tell her to calm her concerns when I've spent weeks trying and failing to calm my own. But I'll try my best to ensure I don't steal what hope remains from those sweet coffee-colored eyes. As soon as we're inside, I'll hang our coats and Sage changes into her nightgown, a white cotton dress with a lace hem that once belonged to me, and I'll watch as she slips an extra pair of gray woolen socks over the ones she already wears. I'll lock the door for the final time this evening, shutting out the silence that reminds me of how alone we truly are in this world, and in this land Mama always called our little slice of heaven on earth, and the place where no one can ever hurt us. Grabbing Sage's doll from the floor, I place it on the pillow beside her, promising myself I'll be better tomorrow. Maybe I'll sing her one of Mama's favorite songs and try to find a way to distract her from all of this, if only for moments at a time. I won't let anything happen to us, I tell her, tucking her into bed a second later and kissing her forehead the way Mama always did. I promise. Returning to my bed and burrowing under my quilt, I draw the covers over my head and take comfort in what body heat I have left. We're not gonna die. Not here. Not like this. Not cold and alone and forgotten. Mama wouldn't want that for her darlings. End of chapter 3.